Hello YouTube, YouTube back again with another package and pickups video, and this time it'll hopefully be a lot shorter than the last one, and I'll try not to ramble on and on and on and on, like this. But anyway, this is basically going to be sort of a cleanup video. Believe it or not, I still haven't gone through the various birthday presents and Christmas presents and whatnot, you know, from 2011 and at the end of a trade that I did. So I figured I'll take the time while it's getting towards the end of January and finally end the 2011 style pick-up-y stuff, and maybe even do some New Year resolution nonsense at the end. So let's get on with it. First up is a Christmas present. Yes, I haven't got them once confused, and it is a game for the Master System, Marble Madness, and it's from my good friend Freyaplus, who, if you see my last video, was responsible or co-responsible for that massive box of goodies. And it is complete, but I already have Marble Madness, and he said it at the time when he picked it up, you know, I wouldn't be at all surprised if you already have, you know, this game, but it's nearly impossible to keep track of the type of retro stuff I may or may not have, or may even pick up before, you know, like this was for the holidays. Even though I did try and you know, slow down, shall we say, before Christmas. So he said, feel free to add this to a trade video or whatever, so consider it added to a trade video. In fact, I also have a spare manual, so if anyone's just looking for a manual, let me know. It's a decent game. It works surprisingly well given the fact that it's on a D-pad, and I always thought that about Marble Madness, a game that requires a rollerball. Really, you know, I mean, converting that to any of the home systems wouldn't make too much sense, but no, it's a pretty good port. So, also for Christmas from Freyaplus was a brand new PS3 game, Formula 1 2011, and it's one of those evil VIP pass ones, so just as well I got it new, eh? Not that I played them online, but yeah, that's the manufacturer's way of stopping the whole second-hand trade-in stuff that GameStop makes so much money out of. This is something that I obviously haven't opened, so I can't show you. I will open it at some point and check it out, but I'm in no rush because of the stack of games I got for Christmas. I used to be quite big into Formula 1, kind of more during the 90s, early 2000s, and I guess I just kind of, I wouldn't even say grew out of it, because, you know, I would still, you know, watch it if I happened to be in a position to watch it. But it's just, I don't actively follow it more than anything. And it's one of those sports where the rules are constantly in flux, so every single season, you know, there's new regulations, and it's one of those things where if you look at soccer, the rules very much stay static. You might see some variations and then the odd time a big change, but it's very much a static sport. But in Formula 1, Jesus, like this year's, well, we don't have qualifying, but we'll do one quick lap on Sunday. Or this year we'll just have one engine for forever and never let them change, and you know, things like that. So it can be a little hard to keep up to date with it unless you really spend the time. But I have to say, from the screenshot to the back, it looks pretty damn good. Formula 1 games have come a long way, I can tell you that. So looking forward to give that a try when I get around to it. And sticking with the PS3, no, well, there is a PS3, but I'll skip over. I'll keep at Christmas to finally finish off the Christmas pickups. I don't know why I'm saying finally. Please send me some more stuff for Christmas. Hardly going to complain with presents now, are you? And it is Donkey Kong Country Returns on the Wii, and this is from my good friend Zero. For a long time, I wanted to try out the Wii version, and I love the SNES games. They're one of my favorite, you know, series on the SNES. But you know, I didn't really want to pay full price for it. Basically, that's what it boiled down to, more than anything. So a shot to the back there. I don't know if you'll make it out in the camera, but I mean, the graphic style is quite different. They kept it side-scrolling, kind of platform action adventure, but it really has a new look in it, and that's kind of makes sense given that it's a new developer and they want to put their own stamp on it. But when I did see the previews of the game, one thing that kind of struck me as a bit odd was that there didn't seem to be much continuity with Donkey Kong Country series from before. And if you're going to leverage the name, the property, I would expect to have strong, continuity. Instead, this is basically just like side-scrolling Donkey Kong again. Having said that, the reviews were very good. I am curious to try it out. Again, it's not one I have had a chance to. It's all present and correct. Well, and collect. I've collected it now. And I like the disc. Certainly a lot better than the early bland discs. And all the paraphernalia is in there, including the VIP code and whatnot, which is always nice. So yeah, definitely want to try this out. Kind of closer to the top of the pile to try out too, because a few people asked me my opinions on that game. Said, "Oh, have you tried it out yet? Have you tried it out yet?" And I haven't. So definitely want to get a chance to. But between Sonic Generations and Zelda and whatnot, there's a kind of a certain element of fighting for time at the moment, and that always happens at holidays. You end up getting like an influx, or at least I've historically always gotten an influx, and you gotta ration it out for the next few months. But finally, last present, and also from Zero, and this is another superb gift, and it is Uncharted 3 on what do they call it? Drake's Deception. Wasn't he deceiving like every game? On the PlayStation 3, and lo and behold, it's another Network Pass game. Unique cinematic online multiplayer, or uniquely cinematic. Again, another one high. I would say they're high up on the list to try, but they're all high up on the list to try. Again, sealed, so I'm not going to open it right now, but definitely, after Sonic Generations is the #1 on the PlayStation to be played. It's, as I said in my PlayStation collection video, first two games were absolutely great, so really looking forward to trying this one out. I did see SNEStastic's top 5 games of the year, and I know he's a massive Uncharted fan. I mean, he plays them on the hardest difficulties, for God's sake. I mean, easy is plenty for me. I just want to enjoy the uniquely cinematic experience. But he said that number 3 was maybe a little below number 2 in terms of, quality. I would wonder. Well, to be honest, I'm not surprised, because the third game often, feels like that. I felt the same for God of War. But it also makes me think, well, the first game was very good, it was sort of new, and you get away with a little less. Then you refine it in a sequel, and people like the refinement, but it still feels relatively fresh. And by the time you get to the third one, unless you do something quite new or change it up in some way, it's very hard to kind of recapture the feeling of the first two games. Nevertheless, I'm sure this is going to be an absolutely superb experience, and one that I can't wait to get into as well. So that wraps up the present section, and I've just realised that I'm probably going to need scissors for this, and I don't have them. So we have a package, and this is a kind of an end, or part 2 shall we say, of a trade with my good friend TootyUK, or Stuart, on well, in my last trades video, I think that was 2 videos ago, he sent over a great box of stuff, and I sent him over some Sega Master System stuff, and I know my second part has arrived. So there's 2 bits in here, and can I, oh, maybe I will be able to get this open. Yes, this is going to open, thank God. I was going to say, crap, we're going to have to go rooting. But obviously, I said it before, I'll say it again, superbly wrapped. Now, if you have seen my last video, which trade video with Stuart, it was a bit Lara mad, and the Lara love continues in Tomb Raider, which I'm fairly sure now completes the series. Oops, this wanted to be free. It's the Platinum release, but I'm not a PlayStation collector. It's got the registration card, so honestly, that doesn't bother me at all. I know if I was more serious into my PlayStation stuff, I'd probably be, oh, I gotta get the black label, and I feel a bit more like that for the Master System, although not as strongly as some people. The label doesn't really impact me as much as it could with others. I was going to say, wow, they squeezed a lot of text on there. I thought it was all English for a second, but no, it's multi-language. Of course, groundbreaking to a certain degree in a time, if not for just creating an icon. I do wonder, is this one of the series where you should start at the first one and move forward when you get into it? I've played this one a little before, but its original release, or rather its port to the PC, and unless it was a PC game to begin with, and the anniversary edition, and I can tell that it is a good game. Just one of those games you probably need a guide for. But moving on. See, trying to keep the runtime down. A nice package of games here. Am I going to come undone? Should I have got that scissors? No, thankfully I'm okay. And this is also a first for me, because these are some cassette games, and I have no system that takes cassettes, and B, it'll probably be a while before I get them, but nonetheless, the titles themselves kind of piqued my interest, or rather, at least this one here. This is for the C16, yep, C16, and it's Commando. And Stuart actually recommended this one, so that's why I picked this one. Man, these tape games are so different from their cartridge counterparts in terms of what you would get as your packaging in your product. Like, I mean, this is both the inserts, or the inlay, and the instructions. And you couldn't, it says, full instructions are printed on enclosed leaflet. Oh, maybe there was an extra leaflet. Because this one here just has, you are Super Joe, the crack combat soldier, equipped with only an M60 machine gun. You must carry out your lone crusade, forcing your way into hostile territory, or going to work in the morning. Your mission is to invade each of the 5 areas, clearing each one of your opponents before finally destroying your objective, the enemy fortress. It's just as well they pointed out what your objective was, because you wouldn't want to destroy the wrong thing. And it's controls, joystick port 2. That's the controls. So that's Commando. Now I do like those type of run and gun games. My favourite being Ikari Warriors, if I recall. Something I'll come across at another point, I'm sure. But the one that I was particularly interested in was this one, and it is Ghosts and Goblins, again on the C16. And I have to say, from the screenshot at the back, it looks surprisingly good for the C16, which I would assume is a fairly limited machine in terms of RAM. So, oh jeekers. This one comes in a more plasticky case, and this time, little instruction book included. These are the full instructions, as I say on the back. Lordy Lord. The Spectrum controls, which I can only see in German. I'm sure there's somewhere else. Oh yes. Right is 0, left is 9, up is 2, because that doesn't sound hard. I've never gotten used to playing games on a keyboard. And the tape itself. Now, of course, I'm well aware that the problem with these tape games is their storage type, you know, very volatile, and over time, you know, magnets ain't exactly, you know, best way to store your data. I'm sure for the sake of preservation, those things are going to become, well, there's probably going to be some software that's going to be lost forever. Either some rare stuff that was kind of, you know, home kind of production, sold a very small amount of copies, and then, you know, goes nowhere, and no one backs it up because very few people remembered it. And then, actually, I was opening it up without even showing it. This is a Brucey bonus that Stuart kindly sent through, and it is, ooh, it's C64, stepping up in power now. Holy hell, I won't be able to contain myself. It is International Tennis, the latest release in Commodore's top-selling international sports series. Didn't everyone have a great, or super, or wonderful, or plainly awful sports series? You know, some of them are actually not that bad. And this is actually in a reasonably nice plastic case as well. I prefer this type of case than the other case. And there's the full instructions inside. Remind you of today, wouldn't it? So whenever I get around to getting a C64, I can try out both 16, because I think they're backward compatible, and the massive 64 meg mode. So there we go. That was the kind of part 2, as it were, trade with TootyUK. A pleasure to, I was going to say do business, but it's not exactly do business. A pleasure to trade with you. And his Master System collection is really coming along. He picked up some really tricky to find titles recently. One such one was Alex Kidd Miracle World. And a lot of people would probably think, Alex Kidd on the Master System? Isn't that like the most common game? It's quite common. But that's because it's built into the system. The actual cartridge release is fairly hard to find. So yeah, that was a good pickup for sure. But anyway, that kind of ties up the presents and Christmas and birthday and you know, trades from 2011 or so. And I'll just do a little bit of a New Year goal thing. I was watching a few videos in the last few weeks, and I noticed it's common enough that people are kind of saying maybe objectives both for their channel or for their collection. And one notable one, I seen both Ninja Bear Hug and XFL 2708 are having a bit of a race to the finish with their collection. Both of them are going for full sets of Mega Drive PAL releases, and both of them are getting close. I think Ninja Bear Hug's about 54, 53, something like that games left, and Marcus has got about, I don't know, maybe 35, just under that. And they've set themselves a challenge to see who can, to finish the set this series, and see who can get there first. Now, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, but if I was, I have to say my money would be on Ninja Bear Hug. Sorry, Marcus, but while he may have more to pick up, he's gotten a lot of the harder to pick up titles out of the way already. And they're usually the stumbling blocks when it comes to complete sets. You know, you often find people getting down to the last, 10 or so releases, and then it gets really hard. It's funny how you can probably pick up, shall we say, 70% of a lot of collections with, relative ease or with a certain amount of effort, but getting the last portion requires more effort than the previous lot combined, nearly. So, good luck to both of them anyway. It'll be certainly very interesting watching from a fellow collector's perspective. Hopefully both of them will get to the end this year. And for myself though, obviously I tend to be into Master System stuff, and I'm sure I'm going to continue my focus of collecting on the Master System this year. I doubt I'll complete my collection goal. It's not a full PAL set like a lot of people would be going for. It's more my own interpretation of a collection list. It's very close to what a PAL list would be, but there's some tweaks to it. In some cases it's a bit longer than a PAL release because it includes some American stuff. And then I have some secondary lists of variants and whatnot, but they take on a second focus. So on my main list, I think I'm under 50 titles now, just a bit under, I think. So I'm guessing maybe if I can get down under 15 that I'd be doing good this year, because I know, unlike, or maybe like other people, I know I'm going to be distracted by other things. And in fact, I know for a fact that there's definitely going to be some things that are going to distract my focus away throughout this year from the Master System set. So I think I'm going to probably try and get down to kind of the last kind of group of titles in the list this year. I also wonder, and maybe people could leave some comments or some feedback, should I put a list up of titles or a collection kind of number, like 50 to go or 49 to go as I kind of pick them up, or is that of interest to people? Well, leave a comment. I certainly see some other people do it, some people don't, so I'm not too sure. So far I've just kind of been well, here's some stuff I've picked up. And I haven't really paid too much attention to numbers or whittling down the list. But I was just watching, the other New Year's videos. I said, maybe I should kind of think out what this year's kind of goal's going to be. Because I do usually think about collecting goals, but I hadn't thought of a 2012 one. So, while on the topic of 2012, a very belated Happy New Year to everyone who subscribed and continues to watch. It's much appreciated. And I'm hoping to have a special up next week. But it's looking touch and go because I might not get all the work done because video needs to be converted and edited and whatnot. So if it's all done, there'll be a special feature next week. If not, I'll actually probably have very few videos next week. I might not have any. So we'll see how it goes. And thanks for watching, and until next time.